Glad to see all of you here. I know there will be time in the service when we will pray for the Dodgers. Because somebody was praying for them last night. Gee whiz. Yeah. Well, let's hope for the best. They're on to Atlanta. And, well, let's just hope for the best. Everybody, Shabbat Shalom. We begin our service with the greatest of all things. It's the beginning to wishing each other a measure of completeness and fulfillment known as Shalom. Please join us with Rabbeinu Shalom Aleichem. Rabbeinu Shalom Aleichem. Rabbeinu Shalom Aleichem. Rabbeinu Shalom Aleichem. Rabbeinu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Rabbeinu Shalom Aleichem. Rabbeinu Shalom. Please look to your left, look to your right, wherever it is someone is, and wish them Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
You never know. I was visiting someone at St. Joe's before services, and I'm thinking that the doctor walked by me and said, "Good Shabbos, Rabbi." I thought it was really kind to him. So if people can do it on the street or in public, then we can do it certainly. So wish each other good Shabbos, at least one other person before the evening is over.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Let us continue.
Shalom Aleichem, we greet you. Shalom Aleichem, we need you. Shalom Aleichem, we love you. We bring you Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem.
Please turn to page 121 in the school. As Robyn leads us in the candle blessing.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel with kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
In the Hebrew text on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'hadlikner shel shalom. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Please turn to page 138 for our second greeting of love. This for Shabbat. L'chado di likrat shalom. This is the beloved of Shabbat. Please join us for L'chado di. showing love is by inviting the angels to join us in worship. The celestials that God has sent as messengers to guide us when we are lost, and once again to give us divine vision. I mean, it's small, but like today, I wanted to wear this kippah that Josh brought me back from Israel years ago. I couldn't find it, and I was running out of time, and I grabbed another kippah, and then I just moved my kippot, and I just looked there and couldn't find it, and there it was. So once again, it may sound simple, but once again, angels give us divine vision. Also, when we need our car keys. Anyway, Shalom Aleichem, everybody, on page 142. Come, let us invite the angels to join us.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashem, Malachei Elyon, Omni Melech, Malachei Hamalech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachei Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamalech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachei Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamalech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Temple Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Omni Melech, Malachei Hamalech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please turn to page 146 and rise for the formal call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. Come, let us praise the one who's to be praised. Let us praise the one who's to be praised in this world and the worlds we are yet to discover. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Please turn to page 151. We read the second paragraph on that page. Everyone? Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and grows. What would be a truer token of your abiding love than the holiest of your words and the living language that gives it form in the Hebrew? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. That is our third song or statement of love. The love that God gave us by giving us the Torah and presenting us to be Or L'Goyim, a light unto the nations. We are responsible. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it was an act of love. It's a lot of, it can be very burdensome. But on the other hand, think of our people and think of, one of the beauties of teaching world history when I used to teach it is if you look deep enough, we're involved in everything. We were there, leading any social movement you can think of. We were in it, and that's important. So keep that in mind. And while you're standing, please turn to page 152 and 153. the gift we gave to the world, the concept, the belief in the one God. Please join us for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivon Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Praise be His name, whose glorious kingdom is forever and ever. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael. Oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, Davinu, oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu. Oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, oh, Davinu, Am Yisrael, ay, ay, ay. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael. You know, I was taught about the Via Hamza so many times, and you guys are my regulars, so you know what I'm talking about. So let's do something a little bit different tonight. Turn to page one, well, it's not so far, 155. And let's read together. You don't mind, Robyn, do you?
You can do it, of
Okay.
course.
You ready, everybody? Love your God with every heart, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or whether you're rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gates. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy to God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. I have to look up who was the consultants on this, because some of the poetry is absolutely magnificent. But now back to Norm, because it's important. Page 158, Michamocha. I want to show of hands. How many people think when the team scores a touchdown, the person should dance around the end zone with a victory dance? Does anybody like that? All right, Joanne does. Okay, Joanne. No, I appreciate Joanne's bravery. We'll get her later. No, I'm serious. But you know, I don't. You scored a touchdown. Be magnanimous. You know, I won. Ha! We got 6 points. You got nothing. You know, and that's not the Jewish way. You're not supposed to take joy out of the demise of your enemies. You beat them. Shame. Leave it alone. So Michamocha is where that starts. The Egyptians have just been drowned. Yes,
I was
Aline.
gonna say, how many of those guys are Jewish?
Wait. No, but that's now you put a different thing. If we're supposed to do, no. If we're supposed to be order going in, we're supposed to be live to the nations, and we should be telling them, you know, I wouldn't mind standing in, if I could get the tickets, they're expensive. But I wouldn't mind standing saying, that's a no-no, except for one place. I'm not going to Las Vegas to Raider Nation. Those people are nuts. They're crazy. But that's the point. No. You won. You just scored a touchdown. Good. Shame. Yeah, so what? I'm still going to get my $55 million. I don't care. But that's not the point. The point is you want to be a mensch, you want to be a mensch. You know, in the words of Leah DeRocha, nice guys finish last. We know where DeRocha finished. Somewhere in Las Vegas over here. But that's another story. Okay, everybody, Micha, thank you. I appreciate that thing. So, Micha Mocha. But keep in mind, don't take joy out of someone else's loss. Be magnanimous. Say, thank you, God. I'm glad I won. That's cool. I'm glad I'm where you told me, where I should be. And those people are ashamed. They weren't. They weren't as benefited as I am by you. Okay. Everybody, back to music. Micha Mocha on the top of 158. Turn to page 161. Let us read together, the top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, aporei sukat shalom, Aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Please turn to the next page, 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat. Shabbat is only 1/7 of the week. We shouldn't just rest on Shabbat. We should rest every day. Now, I know some of you have jobs, some of you are retired, but working hard doing volunteer work. I'm not saying sleep. Somewhere along I know where it comes from, orthopedic. That's where they come. That's where it was. Rest means sleep in orthopedic, which makes sense, because if you don't sleep, they don't make any money. But that's not right. Rest just means relaxing, enjoying something. Find something that gives you enjoyment, and you feel it. How do you not? I mean, yes, TV is great, especially now with God knows how many channels. I've lost count. And then if you don't just want to use your channels, you got Roku, you've got this one, you got Paramount, you got whatever. But rest just means finding something. I was out walking this morning with Mina. It's wonderful. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's kind of like the Three Bears weather in Los Angeles. Anyway, but I looked at the trees. I looked at the stuff. That's restful. That was at least 40 minutes worth of rest. You can't do that. Just sit in a chair. Look outside. Just appreciate it. Because we're not. As a society, as individuals, we're not resting enough. Things are too stressful. So, we are commanded to rest. Do it. Find the things that give you rest. After Shabbat, go home and think, make a list. Check it twice. Anyway, when I find out which is only which is nice. It's influencing me too. But that's the point. See the things that give you rest. The things that don't give you rest, burn them, trash them. Just one. Kinetic energy, done. And then leave the things again. And then make a checklist. You don't have to do everything every day, but you have to relax. A good book, a good movie, a good conversation with someone you care about. A good song that you could put together to send them for their birthday. Something like that. Things of that nature. Whatever gives you rest, do it. Find it. So when you do that, not only will you give yourself rest, but the other person remembers of rest. So now, let us, as we're singing, because all of you are wonderful multitaskers, taskers. I know.
Yes.
It's not task time yet. Multitaskers. Be thinking of restful things to do that maybe you've never tried before. Give a shalom, everybody, in the top of 162. Before I ask you to rise, I forgot to do the announcements. So, if you'll forgive me, we're going to do the announcements now, because I want you to be thinking about it. This week, talking about restful things and things that give you good feelings, David came and he took the toys in the bin to Children's Hospital. And it was, and there were quite a few, and I'm very pleased. He also sent a small group to BTAC, and that's my fault. The door was open and I didn't see the big bin with all the food for BTAC. So we're going to try to arrange another time for him to go over to BTAC to take that food to BTAC. But once again, he will tell you, I'm going to talk to him after services, how good and how happy and how thankful they were to receive A, the toys, and B, the things for the foods. That to me is restful. Just the feeling, the warmth, the positive. And that's this one thing. Also, thinking of things you can do. You know, tzedakah comes in many forms and shapes. It's not just giving money. On the 15th of November or 17th? Eileen? Yeah, whatever that Sunday is. 14th? I apologize. 14th of November, the temple is having a parking lot sale. Parking lot sale. If you have anything that you would like to contribute, please come early that morning and donate it to the temple. The ladies will be here from 7 o'clock on, setting up tables, putting things together, and we already have 2 giant bags that were given by Shirley and Jean Kirschenbaum, and other things that we have been collecting since the preschool has left, that we are going to open to the community of Burbank, if they would like. So anything you can bring, please. We could use it. Hanukkah is early this year, and let's be honest, you need to make room for Hanukkah gifts. You know, so get rid of the stuff you have now, and just pray that people give you other stuff back. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, or maybe you'll find something here. But seriously, it's a wonderful way to show tzedakah and also to clean your house. So please, anything you can give. And for those who've already contributed to both the yard sale, the parking lot sale, and to Children's Hospital, thank you so much. Believe me. The truth is, they go through about 1,000 toys a week at Children's Hospital. So anything, Eileen, please.
We're also going to be here on the 7th, and if anybody wants to help, we're going to go through the toys and clean up whatever could be cleaned up, because we're gonna put them in the sale too.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to come and wear your oldest clothes and help clean, that would be great. Thank you.
No, thank you, thank you. Would the congregation please rise?
Yeah.
We are beginning flu season. In addition to worrying about the pandemic, now we have to worry about people getting the flu. So if you know of anyone who could benefit from a prayer of healing, as I raise my hand above you, please say the name aloud. Once again, the more we say the names, the more powerful our prayers are. When we hear someone else reciting the name, it enables us to share in pikuach nefesh, the healing mitzvah. And thirdly, when you speak to someone else's healing, you heal yourself. So please.
Jim Bennett.
Please recite with me the prayer first started by Moses for his sister Miriam. El na Rafanallah, El na Rafanallah, El na Rafanallah. And the words, please God, heal her, speaks to her in both male and female, and to the Shekhinah, which is the source of healing. It's part of God's personality. It may be a healing of body, a healing of mind, a healing of soul, a complete healing. And let us all say, Amen. Amen. As we continue our prayers of healing, please turn to page 371. Mishaberoth is an ancient formula for healing. Let us pray together, third of the way down the page. Judaism allows for personal prayer. Most people don't think so, but it does. Now is the time of the service for a prayer of personal making. Let's take a moment and pray from our heart to God's heart. Please turn to page 178. Actually, we're going to read on 179 tonight. The top of the page, Let us pray together. Everyone, grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace. And give us the will to proclaim its message to all the people of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land, and virtue in every soul. And may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. In the Hebrew, Baruch atah Adonai, u'mevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Judaism is a great religion for the theoretical, but it's got to be backed up by the practical. So now you've heard the charge. We are to bring peace to everybody in the entire world. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, what kind of people must we be? So on page 180, 2/3 of the way down the page, is my favorite prayer. And maybe one time when the choir is here, we'll we'll ask them to sing it. It's so beautiful. But it's a prayer of personal penitence. Okay? In the Hebrew, Yila Ratzon, Imri Fidyon Libi, Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri L'Goali. Everyone? May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. The third part of this is, we did the theoretical, we did the practical, and now we did a prayer rule, so to speak. The prayer for it. The prayer, the next paragraph down. Everyone, first the Hebrew and then the English. Useh shalom b'mromav, uyaseh shalom. Aleinu yal kol Yisrael, yal kol Yoshvei Tevel, Hebrew, Amen. In the English, may the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and for all who inhabit the earth. And let us all say Amen on that note. You may be seated. This Torah portion this week, first of all, let me get the politics out of the way. This is the first time in the Bible, or the Holy Scriptures. When you say Bible, it's back to government. In the Holy Scriptures, where the land of Israel is mentioned, it's not called the land of Israel, it's called the land of Canaan. But this is when people say, Jewish people have no connection to the land of Canaan. You say, yeah, go to chapter 11 of the book of Genesis, when God says to Abraham, take yourself from your father's house, from the land of your birth, and go to the land where I will promise you. And the land is Canaan. It's not called Eretz Yisrael yet because Israel of Jacob is not born for another 2 generations, but it's called Eretz Canaan, and that's what it is. So that's the English. The Hebrew is one of the most interesting things in Hebrew. When Hebrew repeats the verb, it's like the Richter scale of language. It goes up. The first case we have that is God says to Eve, Tamut tamutum. It sounds ridiculous, but it means die, you will surely die if you eat the apple. You saw the apple, which of course you know that wasn't quite true, but it was that kind of intensity that didn't scare you enough, evidently. But the point is we have the same thing here. Lech lecha is the same word. The ending is a little bit different, but it means take yourself. When we say take yourself, yeah, take yourself. Get in the car and go to Santa Barbara. Well, don't go to Santa Barbara. Go south, go to San Diego. You don't want to go to Santa Barbara. So, but that's the point. But the Hebrew would be take your body and then take your spirit to San Diego. Whole different idea. Because what it's really saying is it's saying on 2 levels that Abraham has, and Abram, by the way, at that point, has to leave the time of his birth, the place of his birth rather, and his father's household. So what does that mean? What it means is, what God's saying is basically what you were taught, the environment you grew up in, that Ur of the Chaldees. Separate yourself. Forget it. It's gone. It's over. And the thing that your father taught you, forget it. And we don't tend to think how deep that is. You know, we make jokes. You know, Robyn knows the joke when she's the teacher in the classroom. But we say, you can take the classroom out of the teacher, but you can't. I mean, you can take the teacher out of the classroom, but you can't take
The classroom out of the teacher.
See, and what God is asking of Abraham is, not only are you to take the Babylonia out of you, but you're to take your father out of you, because I will show you this new place. And once again, I don't know how many of you have are not native Californians, like I'm not. But it was a big jump, not only to come to California, but it was a big jump not to, well, I'll share a little thing with my mother when she was in this. My mother was a good lady, but she had a temper. You guys know my temper. My temper is nothing compared to what her temper is. Oh my God. That's not, sorry God. Anyway, but the point is she was yelling at me one day. And over the phone. And they said, you have to count of 3 to stop yelling at me. 1, 2. You know what happened? She didn't get quiet. She yelled louder. And by the time I got to 3, I had no choice. I hung up the phone. I didn't talk to her for 2 months. That was the point. I had to separate myself from where her head was, where her ideas were. And it was hard. So I can only imagine what Abraham was going through. He had to leave everything. But he was smart. Well, actually, his life had changed. He was no longer just, Tarak's son. He was a husband. He had a wife named Sarah. He also technically became a parent. Not from Hagar, but from later, but Lot. Lot was his nephew. So not only did he have to go on this journey by himself, but he took his wife, and then he took a child with him, or a young man. So the idea was, he saw the change he needed to make, and maybe that made it easier for him. I don't know, I hadn't thought about it. Maybe that made it easier. So what is the point? The point for us is sometimes you have to eliminate the influences to this point to go to the place that is promised. What does that mean? How many of us, if we had stayed home, would be very different than who we are today? How many of us would have grown up being, listen, I'll be honest, go back to my mother. God, I'm not picking on her, I'm just telling the truth. My mother owned a doll store in New Hope, Pennsylvania. When I didn't quite make the first master's degree, she said very gently, why don't you come home? We'll have your room up in the house on the 3rd floor. It'll be yours, and you can run the business for me. And you know what I said? I didn't say it to her, but you know what I said to myself? Not on your life. God, if I had gone home, gee whiz. No, I had to separate myself. And I have to separate myself physically. I have to separate myself spiritually. I think if you would ask my mother when I left to come to graduate school at UCLA, that 72, 50 years later, more or less, become a rabbi of a congregation in Burbank for 26 years, she would have said, out of your mind. No, he's going to be this great professor. I hate to make it personal, but it is a personal thing for me. So the point that happened is, sometimes you have to separate yourself, not just physically, but spiritually. Now, please, nobody go home and start making arrangements to go to Oregon, please. We love having you. We want to be here. But keep the idea that maybe philosophically you need to remove yourself, and that's what Abraham did. Now, what does God say if Abraham will do this? God says, those that bless you, I will bless, and those who curse you, I will curse. And it was the only reward he gives. He says to him this. And for us, that means something too. If you are the good person who listens to the promise, who tries to fulfill the promise of being your own person, you will meet people. And some of them will bless you for your uniqueness, and some of them will curse you. God is telling you, don't worry, be the person you are, Abraham. In fact, there's a wonderful midrash that Abraham had to leave because when he was working for his father, who made idols. His father was an idol maker. So the father said, I'm going to market, take care of the idols. Dust them and clean them. So he was a kid, he was excited. And he knocked one idol into another idol, and one broke, and his father didn't know what happened. So I went to give food to this one, and this one got jealous, and this one fought with that one. And his father said, you know idols can't eat. That's the midrash, those are rabbis. But the point that he was trying to make was, Abraham was a child prodigy, but also he understood the concept of one God, not of idol worship. So Abraham needed to leave in order to be himself, in order to give fruit to the inclination and indications that he was having. And it was the same thing for us. Each of you are a unique manifestation of God's creation. There will come a time when you're going to have to make a decision about what to do for your life. Listen to the promise. Listen to the idea of I can be my own person, you know, and I'm looking at you and I'm seeing, I know Robyn's from Connecticut, and her had no choice, you know, Rebecca, but I'm seeing people that have made a life for you here. So that's the idea of this portion, why it's so important to us. It's teaching us that sometimes you have to make your own life. As painful and as difficult as it is, you have to be your own person. And if you are your own person, then you will be blessed. And those who curse you, those who don't want you to be your own person, they will be cursed. And that's it. Now I've given you all the theoretical. The practical part of it is, it wasn't easy. Abraham made mistakes. Abraham did wrong things, and he paid the price for it. So understand the promise, the end result is magnificent. But along the way, it is not going to be easy or simple. And for those of us who have made our own lives far away from our families, understand that. So all I'm saying to you is, promise comes, what did it help you? Remember, Abraham didn't go alone. He went with Sarai or Sarah and with Lot. Well, he didn't have a synagogue to go to. We're here for you, to help you become your own person. And it's never, ever too late. In the words of Kaiser Permanente, 70 is the new 50, 50 is the new 30. And because I'm giving you very heavy, I'm going here, I love to lighten it up a little. Older son, relationship had just broken up, and he was just, he came from Cleveland. He was just broken up. He said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, wait, let me listen, it was on the radio. Listen to the Kaiser Permanente. He was then 33. 70 is the new 50, 50 is the new 30. So he stopped and said, wait a minute. According to Kaiser Permanente, I'm only 13. I'm too young to think about getting married. And we both began to laugh in the car. But that's the point. Never too old to find a new place to find yourself. Please, in this new year as we're coming out of the pandemic, find new things. Find places for yourself. If it means leaving old ideas, old environments, old theories, old parentalism, do so. And the land that you find will be great, and you will become a blessing to us and the future generations. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Would you all please rise? And turn to page 586 for our lesson. Please join us. Please continue on page 588 with the word Shehunot Shamayim. On page 591. Shalom. It is my honor to call to mind those whom we remember in Yahrzeit memory tonight, as well as those who have been translated to eternity in recent days and weeks and months. Nan Gold, Zeke Manners, Joseph Schanzer, Aaron Kleinman, Irma Karchman, Rabbi Albert Schulman, Sarah Solomon, Blanche Kranz, Ida Frimmel, Nosrat Hakaka, Bertolt Kleinberg, Robert Sharofsky. Emily Corey, Lily Epstein, Timothy Ben Philip, Michael Ben Yehuda, David Ben Yaakov, Shana Malka Bat Marjorie, Yaakov Balin, Jeremy Kranz, Eric Wurst, Davida Bat Yaakov, Timothy Ben Philip, Heather Olson, Michael Ben Yehuda, Jerry Wexler, Gordon Rajenkov, Matthew Rostein, Susan Del Negro, Mel Reesfield, Ita Bat Yaakov, Eleanor Friedman, Marge Brown, Alice Rivera, David Ben Viva, Anthony Agapoa, Abraham Yeshua Heschel Ben Yaakov Yisrael, Chana Bat Abraham, Arlene Kaufman Pemberton, Han Hunt, Bernard Robbins, Lil Blakeman, Burton Steinberg, Helen Steinberg, David Callan, Ibarado Ben Ibarado, Chaya Wasserman, Neil Gross, Jennifer Giles, Ruth Bat Charles, Charlie Cohen, victims of the Lagbomer disaster, Munit Sinai, Alexandria Rodriguez, Barbara Amato, Aidan Laos, Edward McDaniel, Brenda McDaniel, Negan Ermler, Baruch Ben Moshe, Lisa Eller, Michael Kendall, Baracha Bat Leibel Miriam, known to us as Barbara Bolter, Nancy Hyatt, Ken Scarborough, Sonia Luna, Jack Allen, Lourdes, the wife of Carlos, Esther Beirano, Beverly Baer, Judy Williams, Bob Cohen, Samuel Silverberg, Carolyn Davis, Charles J. Kravitz, Simona Elkin, Irene Gavrosky, Risa Neiman Beach. If you're here during a period of mourning for the anniversary of the death of a loved one, COVID mandates that I only allow you to get this close. So if you'd like to come forward, please come forward. The rest of us, the Kaddish prayer is found on page 598 of the prayer book. We started during high holidays and I'd like to continue. We'd like to continue. We don't have enough people to say Kaddish on any given day. So if you would like to be with us, please recite the Kaddish. Even though you're not technically mourners, you're mourners for the sake of our people and for those who have given up their life for God. So please, page 598, everybody coming forward. Yes. Are you reading my book? That's fine. You're welcome. Page 598, and let us pray. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shnei Rabban. Yalmad Yifrach Yerutei v'yamlik Malutei. V'chai Yechol v'yom Yechol v'chai Yekol Beit Yisrael. Bagola b'zman kariv yimru amen. Yehei Shnei Rabban v'barach le'olam l'omein amen. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitkarar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shnei Yerushan Leila Minkol Rechata V'Shirata Tush V'Chata V'Nechamata Damiran V'Yama V'Yama Amen Yehei Shomer Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Yalkot Yisrael V'Yama Amen V'Oseh Shalom V'Yama V'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Yalkot Yisrael V'Yama Amen. You may be seated. Oh, thanks, sir. All right, thank you. Thank you for everything. I'm thinking. Marlene doesn't want any more yarn just yet, does she?
Anyone? No, please.
Yeah, okay. I can't think of anything else that anybody, the teachers have asked me for anything else. No, we're holding pretty much all. Wait. Oh, you didn't have to go through that. Don't worry. As you well know, until we are told differently, we do Kiddush this way. Although, believe me, I think ultimately we are going to go back to doing the old Kiddush. But for right now, it's too early. So, if you'd all please join Robyn as she recites the Kiddush. It's okay, I'm hungry too. Alright, hold on. Alright, Joanne's right, I forget. Well, you stood so much, so if you think you sit down. Okay, you sat down long enough, stand up. I'm good. I'm glad we can laugh at this stuff. Alright, thank you all for standing, and shall we begin again? Good. Shabbat kashrcha, ve'ahava uvratzon, yichlatanu, baruch atah Adonai, yikadesh Shabbat.
Voices joining happy chorus as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Motzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
It's the Avon a little later.
Normally, when we think of Oseh Shalom, we think of world peace and things would end and maybe Mashiach. Every day I get more and more concerned. The British statesman was talking to his constituents, and someone came up and stabbed him to death. Last week, someone took out a bow and arrow in Oslo, Norway, and killed 7 people.
Yeah.
So I think right now, while we sing Oseh Shalom, guys, maybe just focus on God, maybe calm people down. The general stuff will take care of itself if only people stop taking out on each other. Okay, so we'll just focus a little bit on that. That would be wonderful. That's a shame. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Kiddush awaits you.